Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, world. Hello, all survivors of non-consensual human experimentation, tyranny, torture, injustice in the world. This your boy, Kyle, aka Vulcan Wolverine, aka Remote Neural Man. It is still Monday morning. It's about 8:40 a.m. Central Time here in Louisiana, where I am. April 8th, 2019. I made some small videos driving this morning, kind of just waking up and just having a lot of trouble with the short-term memory attacks from remote neural manipulation. And one thing I was thinking about, guys and gals, ladies and gentlemen, is that, you know, as targeted individuals, we're attacked with something for a while, and we may not know, what it is. Like I got the high-pitched sound for a long time and did not know that this was a program, did not know what that high-pitched sound was. I did not know it was microwaves, non-ionizing microwave radiation. But then as you move along in the overt targeting, your attackers want you to know what they're doing. Like they do V2K, or they'll do stuff with remote neural manipulation where you're like, oh wow, they just zapped my short-term memory. And this probably has a number of different things that our attackers are trying to do with the overtness of it and letting us know that it's happening. But I think one angle of it is because one angle of overtly, hey, let's show him, like, I mean, in my targeting, I knew that there was remote neural monitoring going on, actual getting signals from the brain visually and my inner voice and things like that, because the V2K would respond in a certain way. The V2K would respond to a visual in my head or what my inner voice was playing out. And I think one angle of this is that, even though these people who are carrying this out, like the people who are microwaving me on the shift work with the automated equipment, they might not realize the importance of this, but whoever is at the top of this program understands how powerful the brain is. It understands how powerful our minds are. Our minds are very, very powerful. I mean, it can almost not change reality around us, but it can change our perceptions and therefore change how we act in the world. It can change a lot. The mind is so powerful, in control of the body, physical function, how you feel, how you do your actions and everything. And so I think that one angle to, making some of these things very obvious that they're doing with remote neural manipulation to us, some of the physical things that they're doing to our brain, I think that it's for basically so that your mind will carry on, will whatever they're not hurting, the imagination of your mind and your mind trying to figure it out will almost sometimes make what they're doing more powerful. It can decrease the power of it, or it can increase the power of what they're doing with remote neural manipulation and the torture and the trauma. Take this for instance. Take the short-term memory, the short-term memory zapping. I don't know. I'm having trouble with words right now because of that. But the short-term memory attacks with remote neural manipulation, since I know that my attackers are doing that, I'm like, wow, they've been doing that for a long time. Since they've been doing that for a long time, it feels like it's really affecting me, and it's affecting how my memory works, so they must be getting good at it. And then the mind is so powerful. My mind is so powerful and can be used for me or against me. From an individual standpoint, that I start having this psychosomatic response, right? If my attackers are attacking my short-term memory, and then my brain thinks that, oh my gosh, I'm going to forget everything. And see, it actually fuels what the attackers are doing sometimes. Even though it's really happening, they're doing it on a big level. Our minds can be used against us or for us. So I hope you guys understand that, and I'm going to be working. You can't, and the solution to that isn't just, well, they're doing stuff, but it's not having an effect on me. I think that does work. It does work somewhat. to be like, oh well, they're not even doing that to me, and then your mind is pretty strong, but denial eventually crumbles. So balance. We've got to reach a balance of knowing what's happening, but also saying it's not affecting me as much as I think, and my brain is stronger than this, and my brain is fighting back. Some kind of balance like that. Not, I'm doing that. I know you guys are doing that. But I kind of wanted to start this video out with just that thought, because our minds are so powerful. And that's why these people, our attackers, they kind of poke us and lead us in certain directions. Because we'll walk ourselves a certain part of the way. So we can either walk ourselves against this in a positive way, back against it and fight it, and it's not affecting us as much. Our brain is powerful, or we can keep walking forward. And that's why I say this a lot when I say, I don't think with what's happening to like me with the remote neural manipulation, remote microwaves, and you guys out there who are just experiencing the remote attacks, I do not believe that in itself can create this situation where someone like me, a targeted individual, someone like you, could be totally controlled, where they're like controlling your thoughts, your limbs, and I know they can control motor functions and stuff like that, but where it's just like they can force you to have thoughts, act on them, and like you have no control over it. But if you believe that that's happening, then it can push the brain there. It can make it feel like that's what's happening. I hope y'all understand that, and that's what I mean when I say I don't think there's full control. It can happen, but the brain leads targets the rest of the way. Okay, I just wanted to kind of mention that. Also do want to I thought this was a funny statement. It's like a riddle, and I first heard it. I don't know if it has anything to do with anything, but it has something to do with our situation. I don't know if it has to do with what I just said. But on Batman Forever, the Riddler, which is an interesting movie because the Riddler is actually feeding on the brainwaves of the citizens of Gotham, and he's able to pull visuals and dreams from their mind, which is pretty ironic that it was made back then, and obviously that's not exactly how this is happening, but the metaphor is there. But he says one thing in the movie. He says, what is everything to someone and nothing to everyone else? Your brain, your mind, and it's so weird that riddle has probably been around for like hundreds and hundreds of years, but now that's changed. That our brains actually, other people are monitoring them, messing with them, so it's not just like everything to us and nothing to anybody else. It's changed that huge concrete reality of that your mind is everything to you and nothing to everyone else. I just thought that was like a cool riddle. I'm gonna go ahead, guys, and I'm gonna start with a prayer this morning. I have some very important information that I want to go through to connect dots, and I want to do it in a way where I don't just, because I know this stuff gets complicated, and I want to dig a little bit deeper with some of the details of what could be happening to us, how our brains connected to our nervous system, and so how this hacking into our systems with electromagnetic frequencies can lead to controlling of motor functions. It can lead to pain signals through the body. Can lead to visual injections, short-term memory attacks, things like that. And I want to connect it to something mainstream. Connect it to the Cuban embassy workers and the China Consulate workers, because what they're getting done in their testing can tell us a lot about what these weapons are meant to do and what they're affecting in the body. And then we get tests. I need to get. I have my DTI MRIs, and I need to go to a neurologist who will tell the truth. I do not think it's possible that the neurologist doing my testing were just not looking for this. It's possible. But I've been attacked with this stuff for so many years, like maybe since I was like 12. Maybe since I was like 12, at least since I was like 20. in my early 20s or something like that. But I forgot what I was saying. But I'm gonna get in touch with the University of Pennsylvania. We've got to find neurologists that know about this. You can't just go into any neurologist because they might not know about this. They might cover it up because they just don't want to mess with something this big. They might actually be involved in some of these programs. The possibilities are endless. You might luck out and the neurologist knows about a lot about this. We've got to start finding those neurologists that know tons about this, that are working with other people that this is happening to, and build that up, build that connection up. Let me start with a prayer because I'm just not doing great, and I want to get God's help. I think God's helping us all the time. We got to keep Him in mind and keep Him in heart. But just start off with a prayer. In the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. In the name of Jesus Christ, dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for a new day. Thank you that I'm alive. Thank you that I have loving parents and a family. Thank you for this beautiful world and all the beautiful people in it. Thank you for all of these people fighting this evil in the world. Please give them strength. Please give them hope. Please give us miracles so this will end. So this program will end. So this evil will end. Please bring us back to balance because everything is so imbalanced right now in everyone's lives in the world. Please just give us miracles every day. Give us the right words for targeted individuals who are speaking out, which there's so many. Please give us the right words to shut this down and to open the hearts and the minds of those who know nothing about this, and to open the hearts of those who do know something about it but are on the wrong side. Help them, give them a pathway to get on the right side, eventually. And just make it so, open the minds and the hearts of people that know nothing about this so that they will, say no. So they will say no and join the fight so it won't happen to them or their children. Please just give us strength in these incredibly dark times. Make us lights in the darkness, and help us to live happy lives. Give us joy, give us peace, give us these things that we want in our lives, and let us live the life that you want us to lead on this world before we go to the next one. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, in the name of Jesus Christ, amen, amen, amen. Okay, I'm going to jump into some information. I'm going to jump into some information. I'm going to go to this verse. This is an article from The Guardian from like December of 2017, and I've already gone through this article before, so I'm not going to go through the whole article, but I do want to make the connection to what I'm talking about medically for us and what it means with this bi-directional stream of energy that does remote neural manipulation, that sends signals back to our attackers in their remote platforms and sends to our brain and our nervous system, and how it's being revealed in the mainstream with the China Consulate workers and the Cuban embassy workers and the Cuban embassy workers in Canada by their medical testing exactly what these electromagnetic frequencies are doing to our brain, and how it's getting information, and how it's manipulating, how it's communicating with the brain to communicate with the nervous system. Actually, first, before the brain communicates with the nervous system, the brain communicates with other parts of the brain. And the white matter tracts are very, very important in that. That's why there's damage to the white matter tracts of the Cuban embassy workers and the China Consulate members, because that's what remote neural manipulation is doing. It's manipulating the brain communicating to other parts of the brain, and it's manipulating the brain communicating to the nervous system. Now, is this the only angle with remote neural manipulation, with the torture, with exactly what they're doing to our nervous systems? I don't think so. I think there's many things that they're doing, but this is one that's just like boom, it's a centerpiece. There's this is an important point. I'm going to get real nerdy for a second. There was this comic book, a Star Wars comic book one time, and Mace Windu was talking. Mace Windu was played by Samuel L. Jackson with the purple lightsaber, and he was talking about fighting evil. So that's why this is very important. and he was talking about crux points in the dark side of the force. Now these are angles that, like pressure points in this huge dark force that you hit crux points to shatter it, and it can shatter a big beast, you know. And that's what we've got to do with this, because we're working hard every day and getting information out. We got to find those crux points, those pressure points of this system that could bring it all down. And those do exist. They do exist, and like we've seen with the China Consulate and the Cuban embassy, that was a big crux point being hit. This weapon, the fact that these weapons exist, being thrown out into the mainstream media, no matter how much they're fumbling and people are lying and stuff like that, it has been put out into the mainstream media. That's a huge hit. That's a huge crux point. So let me start with this, guys. This is from The Guardian. It's brain abnormalities found in victims of U.S. embassy attack in Cuba. Mysterious attacks that harmed 24 Americans in Havana resulted in changes to white matter tracts in brain, doctors say. So doctors treating the victims of mysterious invisible attacks on the U.S. Embassy in Cuba have discovered brain abnormalities as they search for clues to explain the damage to their hearing, vision, balance, and memory. The most specific finding to date about physical damage from the attacks shows that whatever it was that harmed the Americans, it led to perceptible changes in their brains. It is one of several factors fueling growing skepticism that some kind of sonic weapon was involved. And now, I mean, pretty much now with the China Consulate attacks, they're like, yes, it is microwaves, it is electromagnetic frequencies. That's basically been established in the mainstream media, even though all these other things were rolled out, crickets and sonic weapons, and, you know, ultrasound could be used. You know, with the electromagnetic spectrum, sonic is part of that. Ultrasound is part of the electromagnetic spectrum. So that could be very true, but it's also the rest of the electromagnetic spectrum that they use that includes microwaves, RF, among other things. I know I'm forgetting other things on the electromagnetic spectrum. And then I was going to say something. But I forgot it. Okay, well, let's continue reading. Medical testing has revealed the embassy workers developed changes to the white matter tracts that let different parts of the brain communicate. Several U.S. officials said, describing a growing consensus held by university and government physicians researching the attacks. White matter acts like information highways between brain cells. So, after reading that, I want to give people the basis, because I know that if people do pass by my channel and they're non-targeted individuals, I'll be talking about white matter tracts, and I'm like, what the hell does that have to do with anything? Right, so I want to explain that these weapons, and when I say remote neural manipulation, and I know that targeted individuals, y'all understand what I'm saying. You've researched this enough and listened to me enough and other targeted individuals enough, so you know what I'm saying when I say remote neural manipulation. Basically, but if a non-target individual is passing through the videos, you know, the remote neural manipulation is jacking into the vestibular system, like jacking in through either a surgical implant or nanoparticulates and nanotechnology that are placed in our body that go past the blood-brain barrier, and also our unique brainwave signature, using all these things in conjunction or as redundant systems as a catalyst to actually hack in through the vestibular system. I don't know if that's the only way, because we get external hits with microwaves too, but hacking in through the vestibular system, which is the nerves in the areas of the brain that control vision, sight, smell, taste, all of our senses. And then once there is entrainment of the brain, that's why the trauma is so essential. The trauma is so essential because it's clearing neural pathways. The trauma is clearing these neural pathways so that other things can be put in and manipulated, and these white matter tracts can be easily manipulated. That's where the damage to the white matter tracts comes from, because they're manipulating how certain areas of the brain communicate with other areas of the brain, and definitely manipulating how the brain is communicating to the nervous system. And that's why my attackers can pulse pain through my back, can make my left arm numb, can do all these things, and on it goes with the pain that they can induce to the nervous system. So let me go to this Wikipedia article on white matter tracts. I got so much stuff up. I was listening to like Opie and Anthony, because I have V2K, and it's like Opie and Anthony are all talking. They have like a radio show in the morning. It's raunchy. It's so raunchy, but they're all talking together, and so at least I can pick the group of people that I'm listening to, right? It drowns out the V2K. Also, what I did, I knew this, but I do want to tell y'all, I haven't, for the last 3 nights, I have not been listening to Dave Case's CD. I've fallen asleep on my leather chair, and then I'll come in for the day, like when I wake up, and I'll listen to Dave Case's CD on SoundCloud, which I do want to mention. Dave Case's CD on SoundCloud, I'll listen to it for a couple of hours. But I haven't been listening to it while asleep, so the short-term memory attacks are a lot worse because of that. Usually I feel a lot more in control of my mind and my thoughts, and just functioning of the mind and how I communicate when I listen to Dave Case's CD while I'm sleeping. So let me go to this Wikipedia article, because I feel like when we find these lines of evidence, we find these lines of evidence like the Cuban embassy workers and China Consulate workers, their white matter tracts are damaged, maybe permanently damaged, and that's how the brain communicates. Then we want to go and we want to see exactly what the white matter tracts do in the body, how they communicate and everything like that, so we can understand what these weapons are doing to us. And what our attackers are trying to accomplish with what they're trying to find out. Okay, so hold on one second, guys. I wanted to make a video. I wanted to do something this week. I don't even remember the last time I made a live stream. I think it was it Friday or Thursday or Wednesday? It might have been Wednesday. I can't remember like what I've done in the past few days. I remember kind of like the general gist of, but like details and like the last time I did a video, I can't remember. Like I literally can't remember. I got to do something about this, and we will keep fighting. And I've got to practice. This is one thing, guys. When I feel really bad and I feel really sick, I'm like, I don't want to make a video, because I want to at least kind of have a little bit of humor and a little bit of energy. But I feel like that's something I'm gonna have to get past. I'm gonna make some videos when I'm really, really sick, when my memory's not working. This is a cumulative thing for me. My attackers are taking this cumulative road. Now there's some things that I need to do to make that less cumulative and less strong to fight, but I've also got to fight it to where I'm comfortable when I'm sick and I can't remember things, and I just adapt and use my personality, because I'm a good guy. Like a lot of you guys, like a lot of you men and women out there, you're good people, and that's what people care about. Like if you miss a word or something like that, they're not going to judge you on that. Just be a good person, do good things. And I think we've got to get through, I feel sick, I don't want to do anything. And I did. I learned that when I was little with the Crohn's disease. This is another level. This is a whole nother level than that. But it's possible. Things are only impossible until they aren't. So Captain Carr taught me that. You know what I'm saying? Alright, so white matter refers to areas of the central nervous system, and your brain is part of your central nervous system, that are mainly made up of myelinated axons, also called tracts. Long thought to be passive tissue, white matter affects learning and brain functions, modulating the distribution of action potentials, acting as a relay and coordinating communication between different brain regions. White matter is named for its relatively light appearance, resulting from the lipid content of myelin. However, the tissue of the freshly cut brain appears pinkish white to the naked eye because myelin is composed largely of lipid tissue veined with capillaries. Its white color in prepared specimens is due to its usual preservation in formaldehyde. So I guess it's usually whitish pink. White matter structure. White matter is composed of bundles which connect various gray matter areas, the locations of nerve cell bodies of the brain, to each other and carry nerve impulses between neurons. Myelin acts as an insulator. Myelin around the nerves and around the white matter tracts and in nerves in your nervous system. Myelin acts as an insulator which allows electrical signals to jump. Rather than coursing through the axon, increasing the speed of transmission of all nerve signals. The total number of long-range fibers within a cerebral hemisphere is 2% of the total number of... Oh, I don't understand any of this. The total number of long-range fibers within a cerebral hemisphere is 2% of the total number of cortical fibers across cortical areas, and is roughly the same number as those that communicate between the two hemispheres in the brain's largest white tissue structure, the corpus callosum. Schutz and Breitenberg note, as a rough rule, the number of fibers of a certain range of lengths is inversely proportional to their length. I don't understand any of that. White matter is in non-elderly adults is 1.7 to 3.6% blood. And so what? If I could just think for a second. Like white matter, it actually has the ability to conduct electrical charges. Like your myelin sheath on your nerves and on your white matter tracts, it actually allows, so when our attackers, we have natural electrical signals within the body, which have a very low amperage, very, very low amperage. It doesn't damage the body when you think or anything like that. The problem with this remote neural manipulation and jacking into the brain with electromagnetic signals is they don't know. That's why they're doing some of this, because they don't know over, like if they're pumping this crap into somebody's brain and these artificial signals are trying to act like our natural impulses and our natural, like if you have a visual in your head, that natural signal. They want to see like how does that damage the myelin sheaths? How does that damage the nervous system over time through somebody's life? Because they eventually want a neuro society. I completely believe that. A lot of other targeted individuals say that, and that's where, you know, they want us to be able to blink our eyes and turn on the TV and the internet and have connections to technology, kind of a transhumanism thing, probably very far in the future, but they want to see, and the problem with this is that artificial signals have a higher voltage. I guess that's the way you say it. I'm not sure if that's exactly the right way to say it, but it's going to damage our myelin sheaths. It's going to damage our nervous system. It has. In targeted individuals, it's damaged us. Them trying to inflict artificial signals, it's damaged white matter tracts and everything like that. So they've seen that and they should stop then. But they're not. They're not, obviously. I kind of hope I'm getting all this information out right. But I just kind of want to put it out there and go through it, and you guys can research more on it. I will definitely be doing more videos. I know that these videos suck, like where it's like, ooh, the total number of long-range fibers within a cerebral hemisphere is 2% of the total number of cortical fibers. Nobody, it's like, what does this have to do with anything? But I want to try and get through some of that more complicated information, just some of the more grounded. This is how this matters to us. And it gets us thinking. The more angles we see, the more angles that we see in this tapestry, the easier it is to see the big picture. And that's, God has given me some kind of gift. He hasn't given me a great memory. I used to have great memory, not great book smarts and learning abilities, but He's given me a cleverness about me where I can see a big picture. Like almost not even, without even trying, I can see a big picture, you know. And that's like one of my, I don't know, I'm pretty hard on myself, but that's something that, it's not like I'm like, oh, I'm great and everything, but it's something I got to use. And that's, I want to convey that because God has given each and every one of you out there fighting this, and even if you're not directly targeted, He's given you some kind of talent that the world needs right now. Like right now, not later, right now. Darkness, we're fighting a lot of darkness. So on that, like I'm usually self-deprecating humor and stuff, but God has given me something, and it's not like Sherlock Holmes, but He's given me the ability to see small details and sometimes subconsciously formulate a bigger picture, and I've got to use that for this. Not the smartest man in the world or anything. I'm going to stop talking about that because it sounds like I'm bragging or something. I'm really just trying to convey that God has given us all something like that makes us very special, and it's a talent, and you can use it to fight this. So that's what I want to say about that. I'm not trying to be like, "Ooh, I'm the greatest man in the world, and look at my muscles. Look at my muscles, they're so musculature. Look at the musculature." I got to start working out too. Okay, let's move on. I babbled about how great I am. But I like doing that sometimes, giving myself a little compliment, because I'm so hard on myself while this is going on. And I know a lot of you guys are too. It's like you're great people and you're smart people, but you're going through this impossible thing and you're hard on yourself because you're not fixing it, because it gets we got to kind of pat ourselves on the back sometimes, because God don't make no junk. So when I'm saying like God has given me some gifts, it's really it's His glory. It's His glory. He knew. I mean, obviously He did know, but I don't understand all that I would be in this situation, that you guys would be in this situation. Okay, gray matter. I wish I could edit that out. I wish I had an editing. Gray matter. The other main component of the brain is gray matter. Actually, pinkish. See, that's and I just want to. I'll stop after this, but that's sometimes why when I feel really sick, I don't want to make videos, because like I say stuff that's just off the top of my head that sounds so friggin', and I don't want to say a politically incorrect word. It sounds lame, it sounds lame, and I'm talking off the top of my head to get through the information, and I say something that's like, "Oh, you think you're so clever," or something like that. Okay, gray matter. The other main component of the brain is gray matter. Actually, pinkish tan due to blood capillaries, which is composed of neurons. The substantia nigra is the third colored component found in the brain that appears darker due to higher levels of melanin in dopaminergic neurons than its nearby areas. I don't understand any of that. And like I can understand a lot of things and concepts, but that's part of what the white matter tracts do is focused in learning new material, like learning new subjects and stuff like that. So I feel like that's a huge fuck you to us, that they're damaging our white matter tracts, and then we have to explain something that's completely new to us, that we've never been trained for in our lives, that is remote neural manipulation, all this crap, and they're trying to manipulate our brain, our nervous system, and while they're doing that, damaging the thing used to learn new subjects, So, it's a lot of complicated wording there. I guess that, yeah, let's just move on. Stop babbling, Kyle, and just get to the information, right? Okay, note that white matter can sometimes appear darker than gray matter, okay, blah, 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 because of the type of stain used, cerebral, blah, 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 dendrites, neural cell bodies, or shorter axons, which can, okay. Location. White matter forms the bulk of the deep parts of the brain and the superficial parts of the spinal cord. So brain and spinal cord. And you think about how probably a lot of the things, like the signals that our attackers are sending to our nervous system, are going up and down our spine. So you got white matter tracts in the brain, you got white matter tracts in the spine. And that's probably the central protocol that they're using for remote neural manipulation, from receiving and sending signals to the brain and the nervous system. Aggregates of gray matter such as the basal ganglia, caudate nucleus, putamen, globus pallidus, substantia nigra, subthalamic nucleus, nucleus accumbens, and brainstem nuclei, red nucleus, cranial nerve nuclei are spread within the cerebral white matter. The cerebellum is structured in a similar manner as the cerebrum, with a superficial mantle of cerebral. I wish this was in just a layman's, a kind of layman speak. With a superficial mantle of cerebellar cortex, deep cerebellar white matter called the arbor vitae. Arbor vitae, I guess the tree of life. That's fucking weird. Arbor vitae is the tree of life, and then you got the tree of life in all the new Thor movies and stuff like that. And the tree of life, the way our brain communicates with our nervous system, that's a weird connection right there. And aggregates of gray matter surrounded by deep cerebellar white matter. Dentate nucleus. I'm not going to read those. The fluid fill. This is way. I hate this. I can't even remember this. I hate this Wikipedia. Jeez, oh, gosh. I'm gonna get some adrenaline pumping in my brain, so it'll work. Okay, the fluid-filled cerebral ventricles, lateral ventricles, third ventricle, blah blah blah, are also located deep within the cerebral white matter. So just basically, that's all a complicated mess. Just basically, your white matter tracts are deeper. Your gray matter of your brain is on the outside. It's the gray part, and then your white matter tracts run deep in the brain and then down the spine and connect to everything in your, I guess it'd be your peripheral nervous system, that can connect out to those things. So let's go past all the complication. Function. Let's go to the function, because that's all. I mean, look at this. This is complicated information about how the brain and the nervous system works, and to really understand this, I mean, I don't think a lot. The main thing is just we are being hit with directed energy weapons and neuro weapons, and it's manipulating our nervous system and our brain, and it's torturing us, and they're doing experimentation, among other things, not just experimentation. But you see the very detailed parts of our body and our nervous system they're interacting with, and they're doing it like smashing a rock with a hammer. They have no idea what this is going to do. They have no idea the long-term effects. They don't know. Some white matter tracts are a lot different than other people's white matter tracts because we're all unique as human beings. So you see why, I really want to. It's important to know what's happening, and so everybody's like, oh, the experimentation's done, blah 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 blah. It's not. They don't know anything about what they're doing. Even now, they know very little. They're smashing us. They're just smashing us with microwaves to see what happens, so that they can eventually learn things about how this could maybe interact with the body at not such a dangerous level. I think it's to control. I think it's more hardcore control of human beings in the nervous system of the brain. But I just want to make that point. You see how complicated this stuff is. A bunch of different scientists have to get together to figure this stuff out. Then they got monkeys who are part of the electronics corps, which are hitting us with microwaves, that are smashing our brains and our bodies, and then sending data back. And it's a big mess. I'm sure it's very organized because evil is very organized. But still, it's going to take killing millions and millions of human beings to be able to perfect how to integrate this energy, artificial energy, with the nervous system in the brain without just totally destroying the human being. It'll take many, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years and millions of lives lost, and they're not even planning on doing anything good with it down the road. It will just be more of a power grab. What's the next level we can go to hide it from people and take more control? This is a dangerous time. I can't believe that technology like this, that's so powerful, is all controlled by people who are built for war. They steal, like, peaceful scientists' good ideas, and God usually gives ideas to peaceful scientists for a reason, so that it won't be used to go out and kill people. But then the warmongers just steal it up, like Nikola Tesla's work and many others' works, steal it up and use it for war, and mold it into a weapon just for war, just for strengthening people for war, just for weakening people so they can attack in war, just for controlling and things like that, when there's this other direction that everybody is missing. And it may get a little bit, they'll sprinkle like 5% into the medical field and the consumer market for products that should have been 100% of this research. Should have been 100%. There'll be a little tiny bit, but it won't affect the world in the best way that it could, because of all the evil that's being done with the technology. Okay, so function. White matter is the tissue through which messages pass between different areas of gray matter within the central nervous system. The white matter is white because of the fatty substance, the myelin, which can carry an electrical charge, right? It protects the nerve, protects the white matter tract from the electromagnetic charge, but it also carries the charge. And so that's what that's with their remote neural manipulation. That's the fake signals that they're sending to our brain and our nervous system. That's what those are traveling along. That surrounds the nerve fibers, or axons. This myelin is found in almost all long nerve fibers and acts as an electrical insulation. This is important because it allows the messages to pass quickly from place to place. Unlike gray matter, which peaks in development in a person's 20s, in a person's 20s, the white matter continues to develop and peaks into middle age. Clinical significance. I guess let me just read this. Let me go through clinical significance. This information is hard for me to get through, so it must be hard for y'all to listen to. But we just got to read through it. And there are probably some guys out there, that maybe have more of an affinity. I have a little bit of an affinity for biology, but not. I don't know, the vocabulary and all the different terminologies throws me for a loop. I like putting things into simpler wording, because that's how people learn it. I feel like when they're coming up with all these complicated words and stuff like that, it's almost like a social engineering way to help people not to understand it. I don't know. Okay, so clinical significance. Multiple sclerosis is one of the most common diseases which affect white matter. In MS lesions, the myelin shield around the axons has been destroyed by inflammation. That's why a lot of targeted individuals like that, that guy on the 60 Minutes interview who I forgot that he worked for the CIA, and he had Parkinson's disease. People get multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, because that's inflammation of the myelin sheath. It's destruction of the nerves, and that's why, that's what I'm very worried about as a target individual, because my nervous system is being attacked with basically artificial electrical charge all day long, microwaves to the head and stuff like that. Long periods of that. Maybe now I'm okay, right? Maybe right now, even though I'm being tortured, I can, my short-term memory's not too good, but what is that in 10 years? This damage to the body. And I don't want to scare anybody. We're getting through this. We've got to just we got to push negativity to the side and do the best we can. But it's a concern, what this is doing long-term to our bodies. What it's doing short-term is a huge priority, but then you got to think about what it's doing to us in the long term. Alcohol use disorders are associated with decrease in white matter volume. Animal studies suggest that alcohol may cause a loss of white matter by damaging oligodendrocytes, the glial cell responsible for maintaining myelin. White matter by damaging oligodendrocytes. I wonder if there's artificial oligodendrocytes, or something like a supplement that can increase the glial cell responsible for maintaining myelin. I'm sure you guys that know supplements, leave a comment if there's some supplement that you can take to strengthen the myelin sheaths, to strengthen our myelin sheaths. I know there's supplement. I'm probably taking some supplements that do that, but we need to be looking into that very specifically. Okay, so changes in the white matter known as amyloid plaques are associated with Alzheimer's disease and other neurodegenerative diseases. White matter injuries, axonal shearing, may be reversible, while gray matter regeneration is less likely. So at least that's hopeful, that white matter injuries may be reversible. Other changes that commonly occur with age include the development of leukoariosis, which is a rare faction of the white matter that can be caused by a variety of conditions, including loss of myelin, axonal loss, and the breakdown of the blood-brain barrier. White matter lesions on magnetic resonance imaging are linked to several adverse outcomes such as cognitive impairment, functional disability, death, neurological problems, and depression. And that's what we're going to be dealing with a whole lot as targeted individuals. White matter hyperintensity are more than often present with vascular dementia, particularly among small vessel subcortical subtypes of vascular dementia, as well as Binswager's disease, and are generally thought to be an eventuality of chronic ischemia associated with microangiopathy. Whoa, I don't understand any of that. Chlorophyll, more like borophyll. That's from what's that, from Billy Madison? Okay, let me read the last part on imaging and get off of this boring thing. But y'all get the point, right? Y'all get the point. The connection of what the testing that the Cuban embassy workers are getting and the China Consulate workers, the damage to their white matter tracts, and I think that me going to some regular neurologists and being like, hey, do a DTI of me, and just expecting them to give me the truth and be like, hey, look, oh, it's really, I think that was stupid and naive of me. I'm going to work a lot harder to getting with some doctors like at the University of Pennsylvania or other hospitals who have worked with the China Consulate members, the mother of the China Consulate worker, or the Cuban embassy workers, and really pursue this. Because it's what I was talking about, our individual, like some of our individual projects of like getting help from doctors and stuff like that. We need to be doing these, finding success. It should have already happened. Cuban embassy workers get hit with something remote, get hit with a weapon. We say the same thing, we've said it many years before it came out with that story, and it should be done. Doctors should be looking into it. Shows where our society's at, that they aren't, that they have the, I don't want to say they have the right, but with society and social engineering, they feel that it's okay that they deny this, and they call us crazy and spit on us and put us in mental institutions to hurt our lives more, even though we're just going through something that was done to us. Didn't commit any crimes, didn't do anything wrong to anybody else, and this was just done to us. Like in my situation, probably a lot of people's situations, it could have been, with mine it was like probably when I was like 12-year-old boy. I hadn't committed any crimes, and because I was sick with Crohn's, they used that and they said we can put him in this program and it'll be covered up because he's going to be experiencing autoimmune pain, from the Crohn's disease. That's a good cover to put him in this program. And they do so to many other situations I know, of course. But this isn't, there was something from James E. Adorno that I was going to play. I may go ahead and just play it, but it's about using these like neurotechnology and neuroweapons, the kinds that are being used on us as targeted individuals to stop crime, and what are the ethical issues with that. And as we can see as targeted individuals, that's not what they're doing at all. So no non-targeted individual get it in your head that, oh, well, they've got to search in some people's brains, and as long as it's not me, blah. No. They're not. It's like total control. Even if you didn't do anything, your brain's going to get dug into, your nervous system's going to get raped. Could already be happening to some of you people that are like, oh, well, at least it's not happening to me. Could be completely happening on a down low where it's covert remote neural monitoring and remote neural manipulation. So don't ever think that this is being done the correct way. Any technology and knowledge kept in the dark will not be used for the good of the civilian population. It just will not. You can just look at so many examples. This specifically, this is a big one. But anything that's hidden, any knowledge or technology that is hidden from the majority of humans will not be used for their well-being. I mean, and it should be obvious. It should be obvious. That's why they're hiding it. If they were like, hey, this is going to be used for the good of humanity, and you guys get a say in this, and we're all going to work together and see how we can use this to evolve and stuff like that, you know, if they were doing that, they would have told us. You know, they would be telling everybody about this. They're gonna roll it out in this very, very specific fashion, and eventually it'll come where, oh, this is convenient. This is convenient to look into your brain. We gotta look into your kids' brains. I don't know what accent that is, but it just sounds like a really like dumb evil person. It's convenient to do this. It's convenient. There's gonna be a utopia at the end of it when we kill everybody and I kill myself. So there'll be the utopia afterwards. I don't know who that is though, but it's somebody dumb who I hate. Okay, imaging. The study of white matter has been advanced with the neuroimaging technique called diffusion tensor imaging, DTI, where magnetic resonance imaging, MRI brain scanners are used. As of 2007, more than 700 publications have been published on the subject. A 2009 paper by Jan Schultz and colleagues used diffusion tensor imaging to demonstrate changes in white matter volume as a result of learning a new motor task. So a new, like learning new stuff, it's crucial in that. The study is important as the first paper to correlate motor learning with white matter changes. Previously, many researchers had considered this type of learning to be exclusively mediated by dendrites, which are not present in white matter. The author suggests that electrical activity in axons may regulate myelination in axons, or gross changes in the diameter or packing density of the axon might cause the change. A more recent DTI study by Sampaio Baptista and colleagues reported changes in white matter with motor learning along with increases in myelination. Okay, it's a lot more complicated than I thought. I didn't read through it before, and that's why I needed to do that, but I'm so ADHD. I'm so artificially ADHD. I just want to make the video and go through the information with y'all. I gotta fight. I gotta be smarter about this stuff. Get out the information. It's like important. Okay, so I'll read this. Maybe this is a little bit more simplified. I don't think I'm gonna read the whole thing because I'm getting kind of tired. I think I'm gonna like use the rest of the day to listen to Dave Case's CD, and then maybe like tonight, you know, do a live stream. I don't know, maybe just, you know, have people. I really want to go through the Sedona method and weigh like positive things, because like, I don't know, learning all this negative stuff about what's happening to us, it's got to be balanced out with with actionable information. How can we make our lives better today and tomorrow? But this is so important, because when we're going and getting testing, which is going to be an important point, like you hear Dr. Horton and Targeted Justice and you know, all these groups that are looking at court cases, and I really think that we need to add in this medical testing, the medical testing that the Cuban embassy workers got, the medical testing that the China Consulate workers have received, and will probably you know, have like intermittent testing done on them to see what's going on. You know, we can tie what's happening to us, in with that, because it's like the neuro weapons are the same, the directed energy weapons are the same. The specificity of what is happening to them or what was being done to them is different, because there's different protocols and there's different things that people with these weapons want to do to the target or the survivor. But I feel like this is a crucial pathway to take to getting some testing that just proves it concretely and connects it with what's happening to targets in the mainstream media. And we need to bring these in on our court cases. I'm gonna get, oh gosh, I gotta do my affidavit. I can't go through all, because it's like I've tried to ignore it to not lose my mind, like ignore exactly what's happening to me all the time, and I'm gonna have to go through it. I'm gonna do it though. I'm gonna do it. We got to do the court cases too. Got to keep getting information out. We got to do anything that we can think of with the energy that we have. But yeah, let me read through some of this, and then I think I'm gonna wrap it up, guys. And I'll do a live stream. I'll do a live stream either tonight or tomorrow. You know, I'll try and do more in smaller bites because it helps me. I never had to do that. I could always just do a long video and get everything out that I needed to get, but now it's like I may have to take smaller bites for myself. It's so shitty. It's so shitty that my brain is being pulled apart by these microwaves, and like, you know, you other targeted individuals out there, and we're the only ones with incentive. We are literally the only people that, not with incentive, that think they have incentive to actually take this on and stop this. Like, other people, they don't know how dangerous it is, or they're like, oh, it's only happening to certain people, or oh, it's not that bad, or whatever. We're the only people with the knowledge to be like, we have to fight this on every level we can. This is so evil. It's the worst torture ever. This is, you know, unbelievable that the brain is being monitored, and then the person tortured, and then these people, like my attackers are like saying that I'm crazy, like on the V2K, after they've been torturing me for, you know, at least with them it's been like 8 years, and they may have been on my, you know, torture shift work, you know, even longer. Insane. It's like insane. And I think that it's mind-boggling to me that people who are not experiencing this are like not jumping on it and saying, wow, this is so dangerous. And I think it's just because they don't understand. You know, they just don't understand. The good people, you know, the good people who are not, they don't understand how dangerous this is. All right, so change in the brain's white matter. So this is from HHS Public Access. Okay, U.S. National Library of Medicine and the National Institute of Health. So this isn't like a conspiracy rag or anything like that. Oh, this is just about the brain's white matter tracks. Okay, sorry, I got ahead of myself there. Okay, change in the brain's white matter. The role of the brain's white matter in active learning and memory may be underestimated. Gray matter is only one of two types of brain tissue. The other, white matter, is rarely mentioned. Yet white matter makes up half the human brain and has not been thought to be important in cognition or learning outside the context of pathology. That view could change. Imaging and cellular and molecular studies are revealing white matter plasticity with possible implications for normal cognitive function and psychological disorders. So, and we got to understand, like, white matter is important with motor functions, learning new things. Like, it has a plasticity to it. So it's obviously something that our attackers, that's gonna be their main thing, because they want control. They want behavioral control. They want to put new things into your head that weren't there before, and for those things to become a part of you. And so what does that? The white matter tracks. You see what I'm saying? So I just want to make that connection there. I wish I had better words to do it. But right now I'm working with a very stunted vocabulary. White matter, which lies beneath the gray matter cortex, is composed of millions of bundles of axons, nerve fibers that connect neurons in different brain regions into functional circuits. The white color derives from the electrical insulation, myelin, that coats axons. It is formed by non-neuronal cells, oligodendrocytes, which wrap up to 150 layers of tightly compressed cell membrane around axons. Myelin is essential for high-speed transmission of electrical impulses. So let's read that again, because that's really important. And I like this article. It doesn't seem to be completely just like word after word that I don't understand. Okay, so it is formed by non-neuronal cells, oligodendrocytes, which wrap up to 150 layers of tightly compressed cell membrane around axons. Myelin is essential for high-speed transmission of electrical impulses, and its damage can impair conduction and consequently sensory, motor, and cognitive functions. So that's important. I mean, that's why we're being messed up too, because they're running these artificial signals along the myelin sheaths of not only our white matter tracts, through the vestibular system to the nerves and the areas of the brain through the white matter tracts, down the spine, then to other nerves in the body if they want to create pain or sensations or anything like that. Running artificial signals, electromagnetic signals through those things is damaging our myelin sheaths. That's why you get Parkinson's disease and Alzheimer's and and multiple sclerosis, when people are tortured with this for so long. Because it just destroys the myelin sheaths. I don't get it at all how they think that this can ever be a neuro society. This stuff destroys the body, destroys the way our nervous systems work. I don't see how people think they can, and this isn't for normal people in society, but the people up at the top really, they want to kill off a lot of people, but for whoever's left, they want a bidirectional stream of energy so that there's a neuro society. And that machines, we can communicate with machines and everything like that. That's what they're thinking up at the top of the pyramid. They're insane. And they want transhumanism. But this stuff, connecting ourselves to artificial signals all the time with extremely high voltages, I don't think they could ever get the voltage right to where it would not destroy the human nervous system in the brain. And they don't care. They're going to try and kill as many human beings to get to that point. But I don't think they'll ever get to that point. I think it's always going to cause damage. Life expectancy is going to be shortened on a profound rate, which top of the pyramid wants that. So who knows? Everything that they're planning, everything that the top is planning, dude, they only know. Only they know. The people on the next layer of the pyramid think something completely different that they're working on. It's really bad to be under the control of people who really think that we're like cattle or ants at the top with all the money and the technology at their disposal, working the system like a chessboard. This is bad, y'all. This is really bad. It's been in the works for a long time. Where was I? The human brain continues to undergo myelination until at least the third decade of age, and the frontal regions of the cerebral cortex, which carry out higher level executive functions, are the last to become myelinated. The frontal regions of the cerebral cortex, which carry out higher level executive functions, are the last to become myelinated. That's very scary to think about young children who haven't even developed that system. Their brain's not even developed, not their gray matter, but especially not their white matter tracts. And if they get into one of these targeting programs where there's remote neural manipulation from when they're born, it can take more control over a person than somebody who is maybe 30 years old or something like that. And then they start targeting them and trying to kind of manipulate and do things. That person already has a well-formed gray matter and white matter of the brain, but then you're talking about kids who that stuff hasn't even been developed, and they're just forming it like clay with these microwaves. They're just, making that kid do and feel and be exactly, what they want. A killer if they want, or, whatever, a soldier. Yeah, this sucks. This stuff sucks. It's too big. It's just too big, we gotta just come at it from all these little angles, but the whole thing, what's going on from the top down is too big for me. Help us, God. Help us, God. And everybody's going to start working together. I mean, we're going to get more non-targeted individuals helping us, and these things coming out in society. So it's not like it's going to be on us forever. And this won't last forever. Nothing does. God will give us a balance. Maybe in the next life. I don't know. Maybe in the next life, but there will be a balance. Maybe in this life. I will be looking forward to that and fighting for it. This is just Alright, let's move on. So white matter, myelin that coats and insulates neuronal axons may control the propagation of electrical impulses in a manner that affects information processing. So I guess this is the white matter kind of myelin. The myelin that coats it, I guess, would be the blue. coating all of that. And as we're hit, all this stuff is shredded. Like, it's not shredded, it doesn't go away, but it's thinned and thinned and thinned and thinned, and it causes problems with the blood-brain barrier, which my dad, that's what he had a brain aneurysm because of that, you know, a week after my 33rd birthday. Let me see. I may read a couple more paragraphs. Let me just read this end part. I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm getting agitated, and having a lot of trouble. You know, having a lot of trouble. Boom, boom. I want to talk about this. Just gotta throw my brain away. I don't need my stinking brain for this. Okay, so white matter is essential for impulse conduction, and so the concept of white matter plasticity widens the scope of investigation beyond the synapse in considering transmission of information through neural networks that are critical for learning complex skills and higher level cognitive function in the absence of pathology. Perhaps white matter differences that correlate with scoring on intelligence quotient tests in certain psychiatric conditions can be attributed in part to a direct role for white matter in learning and cognitive function. But much work needs to be done to explore these interesting possibilities. Oh, and it is being done. They're exploring the possibilities on a bunch of innocent citizens while destroying our nervous system, our spines, our brains. A lot of work's being done. A lot of good work's being done. I want to flip off I'm not going to, because then y'all think I'm flipping y'all off. But I was going to flip the bird for a second there, and I thought better of it. This includes determining the nature of the white matter structural changes observed and assessing whether these changes affect electrical impulse transmissions and or synchronicity. It should be synchronicity. Synchronicity of neuronal firing in a manner that affects information processing. Okay, so I'm gonna. That's all I can take of the textbook science talk, but it's important. It's important that we understand the white matter tracts of the brain. That's something that's being manipulated within us, and we can see it, connect it to the mainstream media, connect it to the Cuban embassy workers and the China Consulate workers, the remote weapons, the remote neuroweapons that were hitting them and doing certain things specifically, probably getting information from the brain and sending information to the brain. That is what's being done to all other targeted individuals who are talking about remote hits with directed energy weapons, remote hits with neuroweapons. So it's important to understand in the details of exactly how the catalyst works, you know, like the implant and the signal, and exactly how it runs along the nerve, and you know, blah blah blah, is gets pretty detailed and crappy and boring. But it brings us closer. We need to be going in the right direction and understanding what this has done. What this is doing to us. It's important to me, guys, and I know a lot of you may be saying, well, you know, we're being hit with external microwaves and the gang stalking's going on, and those are the things that I want to talk. This is y'all saying this, or some of y'all saying this. It's just what some people I think are like, and what you're getting into, Kyle, is too complicated. It's too complicated, and it's going too in depth on the remote neural manipulation. But from where I'm sitting, it's the most important thing. If we're not in control of our minds, if we don't know what is being done to our minds, we become almost weapons against other targeted individuals. You know, and not like a purposeful, like you don't do stuff to other people purposefully, right? But if your mind is being manipulated, it's making you feel certain ways, it's making you think in certain patterns and stuff like that, and you're not aware of that, and you're going along with those certain patterns as if they're your own. It's very dangerous. It's the most dangerous aspect of this, because of course there's the torture with external microwaves, there's the gang stalking which shreds our lives, there's the copious amounts of deceit and all this. But the crux point, let's bring it back to the beginning, and Mace Windu, you're my homeboy. the crux point of this is that if we can, like with Dave Case's CD, pleasing music, many other things, there's many other things to block the head. We want to block the head and the neck, because some of this is like they're hitting the neck and it's conducting along the skin to get to some of the to like nerves in the ears, nerves in the eyes, your vestibular system, hacking into your vestibular system. Some is implants and blah blah blah. There's redundant systems of this. But that's one of the most important things to me, and I don't care. This is one of those things where it should convince people who are not TIs, but if it is too detailed for them, it's I don't care, because we as target individuals need to say, okay, this is probably being done to me. These are the protocols. If I do sense like a thought or something that is just not me, I need to, what Brian 2 says. Memory something, I can't remember, but basically just knowing what you're thinking is you, knowing what's kind of out of place and things like that. If you're just going along with all your thoughts and you're getting remote neural manipulation and you're just full bore, oh, I'm mad at that person and they're a perp or whatever, and I'm feeling, boom, it's gonna, if you just don't even think about it, if you don't even think about the remote neural manipulation, it makes you, doesn't make you like dangerous, but it's one of the most dangerous things. It can cause a lot of confusion. So I feel like it's one of the most important things. I mean, all of it's important, but to me it's like red flag. Our minds and our minds are what we think with. It's what we perceive with. It's what we take action with. It's where everything starts. Well, I'd say soul, but you can't connect to the soul very good. It's still there, but it's hard to get connection with this physical body unless your mind is healthy. So instead of keeping dragging on in the complicated justification, I'll just say, it's very important to me. It's very important to me. I think it should be important for all of us, because that's the worst, raping somebody's mind. Not even just, even if they were just accessing the brain and seeing what we were thinking, to be able to do external like gang stalking, and they weren't actually externally manipulating and microwaving like white matter tracts and putting pain into our nervous system, it would still be the most evil rape ever if it was just remote neural monitoring. But it is also manipulation too. Okay guys, that wasn't too bad. I just feel like crap. It wasn't too bad, and I'll be back. I'll probably be back either today or tomorrow with a live stream. Maybe as I think about it more, anything that I forgot, anything that I didn't go over. I guess I can play the James G. Adorno thing. I don't think it's going to be copyrighted or anything. It doesn't. It's something from him. It's something from him that I may have. I clicked out of it earlier. Okay, I may look for that on do that on another video. I love you guys. I love you guys. I hope y'all are. I just pray that you are doing well. That you're getting through this. We're getting closer. We're getting closer. It's hard to know. It's hard to know because I've been isolated, and it's hard to know, how close we're getting and stuff like that, because all the information is partitioned out. Our mainstream media that gives us all of our information is not going to report any of this. So there's information here, information there, information on this YouTube channel, information on this conference call, information with this organization that's doing stuff, and it's spread out. But there are some good websites that kind of bring everything together and stuff like that. I think we're doing better than I feel like we're doing, and that says a lot, because I think we're doing very well. I think we're moving forward. We just got to remain positive even in the face of this horrible hell beast, no matter how bad it is, because that's why we're here. And we're here to do good. We're here to be good people and to help people and to trust in God. So that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. And something else inspiring. All right, guys. I love y'all. And I'll probably see y'all on a live stream pretty soon. I think I'm on week 3 or 4. It could be a month by now. the live stream. I might go check and see if they've taken that off. I don't think they budge on that though, because I emailed the guy and he never emailed me back, and I don't think they even think about lifting it early. It's just done, you know. I was like just thinking about how shitty that is this morning. I was like, you know, it's like we're being murdered and tortured, and people are like, you know, calling us crazy, and you can't really. It's hard to communicate with people that like strangers who are gang stalking you why they shouldn't be doing this, because then they're just going to think it's this horrible mess. And it's instead of getting like like maybe a little bit of help from YouTube or the mainstream media or something about important information that can help us, it's like they're just like, nope, that 60 minutes video, your live stream's gone. It's like, could you just let that pass? I mean, but it's Zerzet song, you know, it's Zerzet song. It's what's the military full spectrum dominance. With full spectrum dominance, I guess there's mercy if there's a protocol for mercy. If there's a protocol that's been written that your attackers have to pull off every once in a while because that's just how their managers and how the contractors are doing it, you might get some mercy. But you know, there's not going to be any creative mercy given to us. It's going to be a stomp us until we're gone, which they're not going to be able to do. And that's for everybody. I'm not even just talking about targeted individuals. If you're just a normal person watching this, they want to shut you down. Like, if you have anything good to offer the human race and you want us to be free, like if you think that you want to live an individual free life and find some kind of way to not live in a horrible dystopia, you're the enemy. You're the fucking enemy. It's crazy. All right, guys. I'll see you on the next one. I love y'all. Let's keep fighting. There's a lot of stuff I want to do, so I'm not going to go through all the stuff I want to do. I'm just going to keep thinking, keep doing better. And I know you guys will too. I love y'all. God bless you, and God bless and protect and strengthen your families and give you peace and some joy in your life. There are good things in this world. You know, it sucks that there are so many good things in this world, and it's worse to be isolated from them, to be pulled away from them and to be attacked, and you know that there's all these great things in the world, than actually if there were no good in the world. Sometimes it's more painful, but it's a good thought that there are tons of great things in the world, tons of good in the world. God has made a beautiful world. Man has made a hell. You know, but we got to keep fighting for what God wants, and I don't think God wants horrible hell for all of us. All right, guys, I love y'all, and I will see you and talk to you on the next one. All right.